Donald Barr was the headmaster of Dalton School in Manhattan and was known for making unconventional hires. This was one of the reasons he disagreed with the board and resigned as headmaster. Around the same time, Epstein was hired as a physics and math professor at the school. Epstein was only 21 then and had no college degree, a classic case of unconventional hire. It is widely believed that Epstein was the last guy Barr hired before resigning. All of this was happening in the year 1974, and a few years later, CIA documents on how they recruit, train, and use secret agents were declassified. It had information on the terms used to describe the entire process, such as the pitch. The pitch was the formal process of recruiting a capable agent with or without their knowledge. Did I mention that before Donald Barr was the headmaster at Dalton School, he worked in the Office of Strategic Services, a predecessor to the CIA.
Here I come.
Also, just a year before recruiting Epstein, Barr had published a novel, Space Relations, 1973, which featured a planet ruled by oligarchs who engaged in child sex slavery. Uncanny, to say the least. Epstein was fired from the school by the newly appointed headmaster a year before those CIA files were declassified, but he had made good relations with one of his students' parents, Alan Greenberg, a senior partner at Bear Stearns. With Alan's help, Epstein began working in the options sector at Bear Stearns and, in a span of 5 years, managed to become a senior partner. However, in March 1981, Epstein was found to have violated a company policy, and instead of paying a fine, he chose to resign. 5 months later, Epstein launched his own company, International Asset Group, IAG. Epstein described IAG as a consulting firm that provided complex financial advice to ultra-wealthy clients, and he did. The clients were not just normal ultra-wealthy businessmen, but straight-up people connected to intelligence. Epstein became an acquaintance of British arms dealer Douglas Leese and helped Douglas in structuring offshore financial networks used to advance these secret arms deals. It was Leese who introduced Epstein to Adnan Khashoggi, a billionaire Saudi arms dealer. Epstein helped Khashoggi in the same way he assisted Leese, by creating opaque financial structures to hide his activities from scrutiny. Leese was a central figure in the Al-Yamama arms deal, and Khashoggi was a key player. Khashoggi was also the money man who facilitated the Iran-Contra arms deal, which was underway at the same time in the early 80s. Epstein reportedly facilitated both arrangements by creating financial structures that enabled the operations to proceed. Both the British Secret Intelligence Service, MI6, and the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, were also intimately involved in these deals. Saudi intelligence was most certainly involved, at least in the Al-Yamama arms sales, and Israeli intelligence helped to facilitate Iran-Contra. Epstein most likely also established connections with officials from Honduras, Taiwan, Panama, and Costa Rica, as they were also involved in the network of shell companies. Another important fact is that Epstein was fully aware that both operations were initiated intentionally to evade U.S. law. Now, of course, some people don't believe in any of these and only rely on hard facts, one of which is that Epstein had the false passport found in his New York mansion when it was searched in 2019, which he apparently kept as a souvenir since it had expired, in addition to being fake. The fake Austrian passport showed Epstein under a different name and with an address in Saudi Arabia. Entrance and exit stamps indicate that the passport was used in the early 1980s and was used in locations that parallel those used to facilitate the Al-Yamama arms deal. I can't imagine Epstein getting a fake passport or using one without official government backing and cover. It's not a very hard thing for intelligence services to make counterfeit passports anyway. It's also not rocket science, and has been public knowledge for a long time that throughout the Cold War, Mossad, CIA, and MI6 have worked together countless times. Nor is it rocket science that Israel has had a lasting influence over American politics, think tanks, foreign policy, and its financial institutions. Almost all major intelligence agencies have had a proven history of not just placing, but cultivating, shaping, and then recruiting spies in foreign lands. After that, handling them, giving them help in any way possible for them to be able to extract any important information or conduct any important tasks in the foreign lands. What's stopping the CIA and Mossad from doing so in a joint operation in the USA? I mean, with all the influence Israel has on American institutions and a proven history of CIA spying on its own people, it's not too far-fetched. Maybe Epstein was also one of those cultivated spies. There is too much circumstantial evidence to ignore, and I haven't even scratched the surface yet. After working for so many high-profile clients, even dangling in illegal operations, Epstein was pushed higher to become a socialite and connect with as many powerful people as possible. Hence, he formed a new company in 1987, J. Epstein and Company, to manage the assets of clients who had a net worth of at least $1 billion. It appears that Epstein formed the company after he met Leslie Wexner, who was to become one of his most important clients. Wexner was the billionaire founder of The Limited, later rebranded as L Brands, which included Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, and Abercrombie and Fitch. He immediately put Epstein to work, but it's not clear what exactly Epstein did for him. Whatever he did, Epstein impressed Wexner because by 1991, Wexner had granted Epstein full power of attorney, giving him extensive control over Wexner's finances, real estate holdings, and even his charitable foundations. Now, Wexner's contacts were Epstein's. That same year, in 1991, Wexner met his wife, Abigail Koppel, who was 25 years his junior. Abigail's father, Yehuda Koppel, was a member of the founding generation of Israel. He was the commander of a special operations unit of Haganah, the paramilitary army that created the State of Israel in 1948. In the 1950s, soon after the Nakba, Koppel moved to New York to open an office for Israeli state-owned airline El Al, which became a front for Mossad and Shin Bet agents, according to the CIA and South African intelligence. Additionally, the person who introduced Epstein to Wexner was the same individual who had introduced Abigail Koppel to Wexner, Robert Meister. In 1991 itself, after making Epstein his power of attorney and Koppel his girlfriend, Wexner founded the Mega Group. The group was established to advance Israel's interests. Membership was by invitation only and was limited to Jewish billionaires. According to reports, between 20 and 50 individuals joined the group, including filmmaker Steven Spielberg, U.S. healthcare founder Leonard Abramson, British media mogul Robert Maxwell, and former U.S. ambassador to Austria, Ronald Lauder. Epstein's emails themselves reveal that Wexner was mostly just a public face, and the handling of these groups and their funds was in the hands of Epstein and Koppel. By the late 1980s, Epstein had become a pure socialite, especially after meeting Wexner, attending parties and events with some of the most powerful and influential people on the planet. In an email to the former Prime Minister of Norway, Thorbjørn Jagland, Epstein asked if he could give insights on Donald Trump for Jagland to better negotiate with him. The year was 2018, and Jagland was the Secretary General of the Council of Europe, and Trump was the president at the time, so it made sense. In the same email, Epstein mentions a man named Vitaly Churkin. Epstein claims he made Churkin understand Trump from their conversations. Donald Trump had released his first book, an autobiography, The Art of the Deal, in 1987. In the book, Trump mentions visiting a luncheon at the Lauder estate. The Lauder family controls a huge cosmetics empire, and both the Lauder brothers are mentioned in the Epstein files. In the luncheon, Trump mentions meeting Yuri Dubinin, the Soviet ambassador to the UN at the time. There they had a small talk, and one thing led to another, and now he was talking of building a Trump Tower across the street from the Kremlin. There was another Soviet guy present at the luncheon as well, Vitaly Churkin. Once it was decided that Trump would be building a Trump Tower in Russia and was to visit Moscow for the same, it was Churkin who managed everything, where Trump would stay, who Trump would meet, connecting powerful Russians to Trump, etc. The hotel room that Trump was provided in Moscow was formerly used by Lenin and was linked to the glass and concrete in-tourist complex next door and was, in effect, under KGB control. The Lenin suite would have been bugged. This was the start of Russian influence over Trump, and his file was made in the KGB. After this visit, Trump spent $94,801 to run full-page advertisements in favor of the Soviet Union in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Boston Globe. According to former KGB officers, such as Yuri Shvets, this was the start of cultivating Trump as an asset for the KGB. For years to come, Trump visited Moscow various times, and various Russian mobsters and oligarchs invested in his failing companies, as well as bought flats in his Trump Towers. But of course, it all started at that luncheon at Lauder's, where Vitaly Churkin was connected to Trump. The same Churkin, Epstein claimed, got to know about Trump through Epstein. It is a well-known fact that Mossad, MI6, and the CIA worked closely together, with the KGB on the other side in the Cold War. But it is also a fact that even though Israel and the Soviet Union officially had tensions with each other, many major assets of the KGB were Jews, such as Boris Berstein and Russian mafioso Semyon Mogilevich. KGB and many top Soviet government positions, as well as top Soviet-era oligarchs, were Jews with rich connections with Israel. It would be stupid to think Mossad did not have any connection with the KGB, despite being in the camp of the CIA. Also, the guy, Donald Barr, who first made the unconventional hire of Epstein and previously worked in the CIA, was a Jew. I might be stretching here too much, but it's not entirely wrong to theorize that even though Epstein was found by the CIA, he was found for Mossad and was always a Mossad agent, firstly to help in various illegal financial maneuvering, and then, as the late 80s commenced, to be a socialite and connect important people to intelligence. Just this one Trump time, he worked for the KGB, but most probably on the orders of Mossad. And in the years to come, for the same Mossad, Epstein would go on to not just connect powerful people, but trap them and make an agent out of them himself.